Hello everybody, what is going on and welcome back to the channel. Real Madrid are taking on Real Betis at the Bernabeu tomorrow. Let's get this. Hopefully we get this. It should be in the bag. It should be a relatively comfortable win. Real Betis really, they're not a very good team to be honest at the moment. They do have good players, but at the moment collectively they're not doing very, very well. Really they have made several marquee signings, but it's just really Real Betis, what it comes down to is they're the Spanish Everton. They make them really good signings, and it never really works out for them. Los Merengues TV starts off our comment section by saying, Jovic for president, let's go. Told you he's good. My man's a live ice cold tank. He's the Serbian Terminator, that's right. I think Jovic will come good for us. I did have my qualms, but you know what? He did score, in his last match, and he looked pretty lively, to be honest. When I saw him, I think everyone kind of could agree with this, that when he came off the bench, he looked pretty lively. He made things happen. So hopefully we do see that from Jovic. Hopefully we do continue seeing that. However, I think it's going to take just a few more games to boost his confidence. However, I know that first goal will do him a world of good. So there you go for that. Anyways, we'll get started in our match preview. James Rodriguez might miss the game versus Real Betis at the weekend because he obviously had the birth of his second child, and he also missed a couple training sessions in Madrid. So James Rodriguez might not be included in the squad. Not 100% sure on that. Let's see, what else did I want to say? Betis obviously struggling. I think I'm not sure if this is correct, but I think they're in 16th position. They've conceded 21 goals in 11 games. So that's more than any other side in La Liga this season. So we should be winning this relatively comfortably, especially that, considering we're playing at the Bernabeu, it should be an easy match ostensibly, but I think it never really proves to be that easy at the Bernabeu. But anyways, with that being said, as an antithesis, is that we did win 5-0 last time, so we should be able to win relatively comfortably. Let's see, but Betis have won twice before versus us. At the Bernabeu, so they will want to avoid a third straight win versus us. So, Betis are coming into this with a little bit of confidence, knowing that they could get some points out of this, but we'll have to see. What else did I want to say? Maybe, Rodrigo's one in contention. Luka Modric is another player in contention. Vinicius, Isco, those are all players in contention that could play tomorrow, that could feature tomorrow, but I think we'll have to see going forward. I do want to talk about the press conference, however. Los Merengues TV says, look at the ice cold tank getting red hot and melting. Dusseldorf in the Bundesliga last season, you'd look at him go. We need to squeeze him like a wet cloth. Horrible analogy. It's all good. Hopefully we do get to see the best out of Jovic, and I would definitely love to see the best out of him because, as you were saying, Los Merengues TV, last season is just, unbelievable, and hopefully we get to see more out of him. Jonas says Casemiro needs a rest because he's played more games than anybody, and that's a good point. I know Zidane was talking about Casemiro in his press conference a little bit. Casemiro was kind of saying, beforehand that he was going through a good, run of form, and he was doing really well, things along those lines. And like you said, Jonas, I think Casemiro does need a rest, and hopefully he does get that rest tomorrow because we really need to save him, for future games going on forward, and we don't want him to get injured because really we only just have one CDM if you think about it. Casemiro is the only CDM at Real Madrid. When you think about that, our situation looks a bit precarious at the moment, but hopefully we do get Casemiro a rest. Hey James, good to see you. Thank you for being on. Really do appreciate it. Hopefully you're not working today, but let's see. So I'll get into the press conference right now. Just get into a few questions that were asked, from the journalists and what Zidane had to say about it. So one of the questions were, if it hasn't been said to you already, I comment to you in the past few days, the media has talked about Valverde as almost like Zidane has found the low-cost alternative to Paul Pogba. Do you see this, the low-cost version of Paul Pogba? So it's kind of weird. Really, there's no talk about Valverde being the low-cost alternative to Paul Pogba. I haven't seen that through the media, but I can understand where the media is coming from. Obviously, Valverde has been really good. He's box to box. Creative. So, you could say he's a B-Tech Paul Pogba, but in essence, to be honest, Valverde is coming to be good. Do we really need Paul Pogba? One could make an argument that maybe we don't need Paul Pogba going forward, but we'll have to see. Anyways, Zidane, what he had to say about this was he's a young player, that has a lot of future and present. Obviously, he's currently doing well. It doesn't surprise me or nobody, and he's an important player of the squad. 25 players in the squad, that's that. But he's not like you are telling me. So obviously, he didn't want any comparisons to Paul Pogba. I think still that Zidane wants to bring in Paul Pogba in the summer. So we'll have to see. Let's see. Los Merengues TV says Rodrigo is way more clinical, has way more control in how he plays than Vinicius. Vinicius is a live bird hunter. Yeah, that's exactly it. He is a live bird hunter. He needs to get that foot off of his sorted and needs to get himself checked. So yeah, very interesting from Vinicius. I know there's been comparisons, all throughout social media. I've seen them all, I've seen them spread out throughout social media. And what I have to say is, they're both in our team. They're both playing for Real Madrid. It's very easy to make comparisons, but what I have to say is they're both playing for Real Madrid in the end of the day, and they're both in it for the best interest of the club. So at the end of the day, I think, to compare them, would be, I would say, futile. There's no point in comparing them, because they both play for Real Madrid. So I guess what I want to say is, Vinicius will, Vinicius will take a little bit more time than Rodrigo, I think, to develop, but every player develops in their own due time, and I think Vinicius will just take a little bit more time than Rodrigo to develop, but he'll develop in his own due time. That's what I have a feeling. Vinicius will develop in his own due time. It'll take a little bit more time, but he will develop. So that's what I have to say about Vinicius. But yeah, at the moment, of course, Vinicius, it's a bit off and on, so hopefully a loan move in January would be best for him. That's what I feel for Vinicius, is a loan move. And there was a question in the press conference about Vinicius and his situation at the club. Let me tell you guys about it. Actually, let me get to that question right now. So the question was, do you see Vinicius playing on the left? And the answer that Zinedine Zidane was, which was a really good question. It was one of the press conference. It was one of the reporters. She's Brazilian. She often comes to the press conferences. And she pretty much said, obviously Hazard's occupying the spot and everything, and it's very hard for Vinicius to get minutes. And she then asked, do you see Vinicius playing on the left? And what was said by Zidane was, no, but it's where he feels it is best for him. And as you know, a player of his age, he needs to play where it feels good, and Vinicius has the quality to play, even in other positions. I'm not too worried. It's a normal process for him not to play, not to be in the squad. But he needs to continue to work, and the reality is that there are 25 players I have to choose. That won't change. There are some leagues, cup games, where you can have all the players, where you can't have all the players on the bench, but not in our case. He just has to continue working a lot. So there you go. That's what he had to say about Vinicius. So really, Vinicius, I think what it comes down to, he just has to be patient. He'll have his chance. I think it'll take a little bit more time to get his chance again, but he just has to work a lot. I think he'll get a few chances here and there intermittently, but I don't think they'll be full-on chances like he's giving Rodrigo. I think at the moment what we're seeing is Zidane he has full confidence in Rodrigo. And I think that's easily justifiable. You see what Rodrigo contributes on the pitch, and to be honest, I really do like what I'm seeing from Rodrigo a little bit more than Vinicius. I know Vinicius will continue to develop. I hope he does continue to develop because he's got the potential to develop, and I think he's very, very different from Rodrigo. Rodrigo is very, very different from Vinicius. Vinicius likes to take players on. He's a bit of a dribbler, a bit of a showboater. Rodrigo's not that as much, but what I do like about Rodrigo is, he's very direct also, and he's very good off the ball. I think positionally, I think he's very good, and you'll see him, making the right runs, and that's what I really like about Rodrigo. So let's see here. Let me get to the comments really quick. Casemiro, there you go. Rodrigo's, so maybe okay. There you go. Let me get to the next question here. I know there was a question about Eden Hazard, and the question goes, obviously I wanted to insist on Eden Hazard. You said Hazard needs to score goals, but needs to be more consistent. Obviously, he looks a little timid, at least superficially, because the other day he couldn't score against Leganes. It was a great chance, and he gave it to Varane, and Varane was waiting for Hazard to shoot it. But I don't know if you see Hazard as timid, if you see him as not wanting to be as daring as he was in Chelsea. So we saw this situation with Eden Hazard where, he could have shot, but he passed it to Varane, and Varane would have tapped it in, to be honest. And the pass wasn't quite there, to be honest. It wasn't quite good enough for Varane. And as a result, Varane obviously couldn't get on the end of it. I saw the chance, and I didn't have time to see it again. But what I have to say is I thought the pass it just wasn't well placed. I think if the pass was well placed, I think it would have been a really a creative kind of ingenuous play from Eden Hazard, but it wasn't quite there yet. So I think the pass was just a little off overall. I think to shoot from that range, the goalkeeper was too close from what I remember. I think I'd have to go see that again, but from what I remember, the goalkeeper was too close. I think Hazard did the right thing to pass. I think the pass was just a little off. But in any case, I mean, it was we'd won the game 5-0. So let's see. So yeah, the question was, if you see him not be as daring as Chelsea, do you want to see him like that? And Zidane had to say, he says, no, I don't think so, because when it was in Galatasaray, he had 2 to 3 chances of goal, and he tried it. And we saw this in Galatasaray. He had 2 to 3 chances. He tried to take on the shot, but it went straight to the goalie. But obviously, you can kind of see the quality. He takes the shot sometimes, and the goalie has to make a pretty good save. But there were some times where it's just straight at the goalie. So Zidane then said the other day, players like Hazard, they see things others can't, see in that position in shooting. But he also saw Varane alone. The pass wasn't perfect, but I don't see him like that. The opposite actually. The only thing is everyone wants to see Eden Hazard better. But I see him a lot better every day and happy with what he's doing. We will wait with tranquility, and we will be happy with him surely. So a good point from Zidane. I think it's easy for us to get ahead of ourselves. It's easy for us to say, I do want to see Hazard performing at the level that we know he's able to perform at, but he is improving every game, and we saw this versus, like Ines the other day, where he definitely is improving. You're definitely seeing that improvement from me and Hazard. I wouldn't say it's little by little. Of course, people are, desperate to see the best of Eden Hazard, but it's little by little, and I like the little incremental, how can I say it? The little incremental improvements from Eden Hazard in his game, because it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time. I think people do underestimate how much time it does take to get adapted to a new league, to a new country, to a new lifestyle, to a new culture. Obviously, Courtois alluded to this many, many times. But there you go. So Eden Hazard, I'm really happy with what I'm seeing at the moment from him. But hopefully it'll continue. Hopefully it'll continue. But he does need to. Sometimes I feel like he does need to take the shot on a little bit more, but I do understand where he's coming from. He wants to create those clear chances for his teammates, and that's the kind of player that Eden Hazard is ultimately. He creates chances for his teammates. He likes to create chances. He likes to assist, He's not only a goal scorer. He's not like Ronaldo where, it's solely a goal scorer. His job is to go score goals. It's not like that. It's very, very different from Ronaldo's role. Eden Hazard likes to create, likes to score as well, so... there you go for that. Let me go to the comment section really quickly. Hopefully, nothing much, but I shouldn't say that, but there you go. Las Merengues TV says Benzema has surpassed Thierry Henry for most goals in a single club by a Frenchman. Finally, thank you so much for that, Las Merengues TV. Thank you for that comment. And yeah, I think Benzema, to be honest, he's been. I just watched the highlight video, right before coming on, to be honest, and I mean, I'm probably on, on major endorphins from watching that, but Benzema is just world class, to be honest, and I think he doesn't get the he doesn't get the respect he deserves. He's so good. His game is so complete. The way he links up the play, the intricate footwork, going on the wings, helping out. He's just simply amazing for me, to be honest. And Los Merengues TV says my guy's been doing bits. He deserves a lot more love than he gets. Exactly, that's definitely true. Los Merengues TV says also Eden Hazard seems to link up really well with his teammates at the moment. Thank you for that. Yeah, actually, he definitely, what I have to say about Eden Hazard, he's definitely linking up well, especially with Benzema. I'm seeing a lot of that linking up with Benzema. And I think the reason this is, I think as Jonas was saying in the previous videos, is that Benzema is kind of like a tiki-taka player, to some extent, in that he likes to pass the ball, he likes the 1-2s, and I think that the reason Hazard is combining with Benzema so well is because Hazard can do that, with Benzema. Hazard can play to his game with Benzema, and I think that has really helped Hazard, and and how can I say it, and just making it easier to really do well at Madrid. Los Merengues TV says also, let's see here. Los Merengues TV says, chemistry has been great, obviously, with Eden Hazard and everyone with his teammates. However, La Liga ain't no Premier League. Not too physical like the Prem. He needs to study Spanish play to succeed. Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, Gareth Bale, right? He wasn't one to speak Spanish a lot. But I think, in fair play to Bale, I mean, I've seen him do an interview, and he's spoken a bunch of Spanish. So I think to get on Bale's back about his Spanish, I wouldn't get too worried about that. But James says Benzema is greater than Pele. No, I'm just kidding. La Liga is miles above the Prem. I think they both have their qualities, to be honest. The Premier League is a very good league. I mean, I think obviously in terms of technicality, it's nowhere near. But what I do have to say about the Prem is it is very, very fast paced. It's fast, and I think that's what I like about the Prem. And I think that's why so many people like it because it's just fast. And obviously La Liga games can, some of them you watch some of them and they could get kind of monotonous. They can get a little bit boring. So I think, to be honest, La Liga, I really do like it. It has its place in obviously the footballing world, but Prem as well, just like any other league, I guess. James says Prem has most money, but La Liga is better in every other way. There you go. Les Merengues TV says it's too physical. I think that's a good point. Les Merengues TV. There's a lot of emphasis on physicality and maybe too much, obviously. But there you go. That is the Premier League for you. Let's see here. So there was another question from Zinedine Zidane. Do you think Rodrigo's form can be bad news for Vinicius? So yeah, obviously coming back to the Rodrigo and Vinicius comparisons, Zidane, what he had to say is no, I don't think it's like that. Anyway, I think all the players that are here in the first team can play. They all have to be ready, and it has nothing to do with Rodrigo's playing over Vinicius or anything like that. He has to continue working like everyone else. And I said, anyways, I'll count on everyone. Some more, some less. But that's the reality. I can't change that. What I could change is that the players always have to be ready when it's their turn, and that's it. It's obvious. I think that, like I said earlier, I think it's obvious that Zinedine Zidane does prefer Rodrigo to Vinicius. At least that's what I'm seeing. At least maybe it's not true. Maybe I'm just maybe I'm just assuming or anything like that. But what I'm seeing, it seems like Rodrigo's influence on the pitch, slightly, I would say, is slightly more impactful than Vinicius. Maybe I'm just maybe because of my confabulations, it's just I forget what Vinicius contributed to the team, but maybe because of this, I can't remember exactly what Vinicius did last season. I know he was a very good player, but how can I? Is a bit difficult. I have to make my argument for this, but Vinicius, although he was a good player, he was able to take players one-on-one. He was able to get past players. The end product wasn't quite there yet, and I think that's the thing with Vinicius. I think that's the thing that Rodrigo has at the moment is the end product maybe that we're lacking from Vinicius. But in any case, I don't want to compare them too much. I think Vinicius will come good. I do want him to come good. Obviously, he's playing for Real Madrid. He's playing for our club after all. So. Obviously, like I said, the comparisons may be a little bit futile, but in the end, yes, I do want them both to succeed here at Madrid. But of course, some people will prefer Vinicius to Rodrigo, some people will prefer Rodrigo to Vinicius, and I do prefer Rodrigo to Vinicius. I'm not gonna lie, but you know what? I hope that Vinicius can come good for us. And there you go. So the next question is Hazard seems to be getting it little by little. Every time he seems to be doing it better. But when are we going to see Chelsea's Hazard? Pretty much the same question as I said earlier. And he obviously said, I tell you, you've seen him better and us too. Maybe that's what's needed from him is to score with consistency, but we're not worried. We're happy with what he's done on the pitch because like you say, we're happy and we see him better day by day. It was only normal to have some time, but when he starts to score, we will be happy with his goals. So there you go for that. Obviously we do see him better day by day, and I think that's the good thing with Eden Hazard. It's not that he's not struggling to fit in the team. He's not struggling to, create things or stuff along those lines. We are seeing improvement in Eden Hazard, and this is going to come. It's just going to take a little bit more time, and maybe, by the end of this year, we'll be seeing an Eden Hazard that's really the old Eden Hazard from Chelsea, really. But I think what we have to expect with Eden Hazard is that he won't score you 50 goals a season. He'll score less than that, but he'll want to assist. He'll want to create. He'll want to, pass the ball around and things like that. That's Eden Hazard for you. He's not Ronaldo. He's not the replacement to Ronaldo. He's Eden Hazard solely. And I think it's very easy to forget that. Let's see here. So let me get to the comment section really quickly. James says, let's get physical. There you go. Okay. So next question. There was a question about, consistency, regularity, present day. Obviously, we do want to get consistency. We want to get some consistency in the team, obviously. It's day by day. It's present day. And I know Zidane has been alluding to this a lot in the press conferences. It's really day by day. And we have to remember that tomorrow's game, we focus on tomorrow's game and tomorrow's game solely. We can't, look into the future. I know there was a question about PSG and stuff along those lines. But really, we can't look into, that far out into the future. It's just way, way, way too far. It's going to overwhelm us, as Real Madrid. as the club, and there was a question about, Marcelo and obviously the anxiety that he had to succumb right before the Champions League final. And, there was the interview with Marca, and you could check it out. You just Google Marcelo anxiety or something like that. It'll come up. But anyways, the thing with that is, Marcelo obviously had to succumb an anxiety attack, I think, before the Champions League final. And, going into the Champions League final, very, very difficult for him. All the pressure, everything that was around him. It was a lot, and very, very difficult. He said he couldn't eat, he couldn't sleep. So there was a question about that, obviously, and he there was a question: did you succumb to that same kind of pressure? And I think Zidane, what he said is, yes, I did. Not yes, I did, but he said obviously it's a little stressful. It's a little bit more stressful to play in those kinds of games. And I think there you go. So there was maybe a couple more questions, and I'm probably going to leave it at that. I know today is a little bit earlier than my previous. How can I say it? Today is a little earlier than my previous videos, so sorry about that. The only reason I did it so early is I do have a little bit of work to get on later. There you go. So James says, Dave, random question: do you like Michael Jackson? Billie Jean, right? I'm not even gonna start singing because I'm a horrible singer. But anyways, on Michael Jackson, I think he's pretty good. I just think the whole child molester thing really puts me off. But besides that, his music, in terms of musical, he's remarkable. Really, really good stuff. Do you want to be starting something, right? Yeah, do you want to be starting something? There you go. That's another song. I'm not even gonna start to sing. I don't want to sing on this channel. Los Merengues TV says, in December, I plan on making a skit-like video of Vinicius Jr. in real life. I think that's a good one. Los Merengues TV, yes, that is a good idea. I would absolutely love to see that. So definitely encourage you to do that. And Los Merengues TV says, and I have something on my mind with this, lol, and it's going to be bang on. David, mark my words. There you go. So Los Merengues TV, hopefully you do come out with something like that. I would love to see that. John says, Marcelo is a true Madridista. Yes, exactly. I truly love Marcelo, to be honest. The only thing about Marcelo, defensively, a bit of a shambles, but at the end of the day, Marcelo, he's a true Madridista. 4 Champions Leagues is it with him, so multitude of trophies with him. I mean, what can we say really about Marcelo? At the end of the day, yeah, maybe his defending is questionable, but in terms of attack, I mean, he provided so much for us in terms of attack. It's unquestionable to think that Marcelo is not a legend of the club. He's just been such a great servant, and as much as I criticize Marcelo, for his defensive duties and things along those lines, he's simply an amazing player. So James says, let's see here, great musician, lol. I like his music a lot. There you go. Yeah, I do too. Jonas says Michael Jackson is GOAT. There you go. James says, Courtois has been great last couple of games. Hope he continues his form versus Betis. Definitely agree. I do hope he continues because, we definitely need to see Courtois at his best because obviously Zidane is going to continue playing him, and if Zidane continues playing him, then we don't want to see Courtois does bad, right? I mean, at the end of the day, it's for the club's best interest. We want to win the league. So if we want to win the league, we have to do it with a good goalkeeper. And I mean, Courtois, he's going to keep getting played, and I don't want to see a bad Courtois, Let's see. So there was a question about Marca's survey. Marca's. I think Marca had a survey maybe with Zidane. Maybe I don't know what it was about exactly, but there was a survey on Marca about Zidane or something like that, and there was a question about it. And Zidane had to say, I lived a lot of things in Real Madrid. The fans have treated me really well, to be honest, in Spain. I can't say anything bad about them. I've had such support. The respect is important for me, and I'm happy to live here, to be in the club. This gives me motivation to work more. So very good signs, I would say, if anything, from Zinedine Zidane, talking about the club, talking about the fans, how they've been so supportive, which, to be honest, I'm quite surprised about, and to some extent, because maybe, but in hindsight, I guess you could say that, yeah, we've always been pretty respectful of Zinedine Zidane, but there has been a lot of talk behind the scenes where Zidane's not good tactically and things along those lines. But there you go, from Zidane's perspective, he's always been respected. That's the most important part. And last question was a question about Mbappe. I really don't know what the question was. And there was there was a French question, and it was being translated in Spanish, and the two questions were concomitantly being asked, and I couldn't quite hear it. So I really couldn't hear it. But in the end, it goes. So it was a question about Mbappe, and the answer was, it's not surprising to see what he's doing. He's one of the best players in the world. He shows that with his stats, and that doesn't change anything for us. It's a good team, a complete team. He's a quality player, and we always have to be careful with him. PSG are at a great level. We have a lot of matches before that one, and we have to concentrate on the ones before. So there you go for that. He was eulogizing PSG, giving a lot of compliments to PSG. But yeah, as he said, there's a lot of matches before that. We can't concentrate on that one. We have to concentrate day by day. And tomorrow's match is versus Betis, and hopefully we can win that one because, every game in La Liga is a difficult game, regardless whether the team is relegation zone, fighting relegation, things like that. It's always a difficult task to play any game in La Liga, any team in La Liga. And Real Betis, they do have some good players. They have Nabil Fekir, obviously, who they just got in the summer. They do have Takashi Inui, the Japanese international. I can't even remember Sergio Canales. I think they have. I get Carvalho, Carvalho. I think from Portugal. So they've got quite a few good players when you look at their team. They really have a few marquee signings that they've made throughout the years, but they are the Spanish Everton. That's really what I call them because they always make some really good signings, but they never seem to understand each other all that well. So there you go. Jonas says Real Madrid needs to look out for Fekir. He's dangerous. Exactly, and I think Fekir really is. That's the guy that's being talked about a lot. He's the unbelievable to see him at Real Betis. I think to see him linked to Liverpool the season before, and then he goes to Real Betis. It was just a bit weird. James says, David, do you think Mendy will start over Marcelo, or is that who you just want to play? That's a good question. Thank you for that, James. Let me answer that right now. I've heard a few people say Mendy will start, and I'm not sure. Let's see. So let me check here. So we got Mendy here. I think Mendy could play. I have a feeling that Mendy will play. The reason I say that is because maybe Marcelo is going to be played for the Champions League game versus Galatasaray on Tuesday. So I think Mendy will be played this weekend. That's my rationale behind it. That's why I think Mendy will be played in the weekend and not Marcelo. So there you go for that. And Courtois has obviously been game. Yeah, great. Then there you go. I think that's pretty much all I had to say about the press conference, match preview. Obviously, we're playing at the Bernabeu. My match prediction, I'm gonna go with 4-0. Very enthusiastic about this game. Maybe a little bit too much, to be honest, because obviously we have succumbed to 2 losses before this one at the Bernabeu versus Real Betis. So hopefully we're not looking to get that 3rd loss versus Real Betis at the Bernabeu. It would be ignominious to see that. But there you go for that. What else? Betis obviously 16th position. I mean, it's they really don't they don't have much to play for. They just got out of relegation, but maybe they won't want to get into relegation zone. So maybe so. But they've conceded 21 goals in 11 games, so we got to look at that too. So predicting 4-0. Of course, let me know what you guys think. Jonas says 3-1, I think. Yeah, there you go. Actually, that could be a good one. Hopefully, we do keep another clean sheet. I would like to see another clean sheet from Courtois. Just give him a little bit more confidence because, like I said, we're seeing this from Courtois. He's getting played. He's going to get played. He's going to keep getting played. We're not going to see Areola as our first, as the starter. So I just want to see Courtois doing good for us, really, ultimately, because it's in the best interest of the team. But sometimes, man, Courtois just gets to his head. Once he does something right, it seems like he's on the verge of doing something wrong. What I saw from Courtois at the weekend, last weekend, was he makes a really good save and then he does something very audacious and he almost gave what he did. He did like a through pass or something, and it was very, very much under pressure for the other players. And at the end, the other players just gave the ball away because they were just under pressure. There you go. James says, I feel 5-1, not to sound cocky. There you go. 5-1 could be a good scoreline and definitely feasible from Real Madrid. I think we have the squad, to be honest. We have, Rodrigo, who's in good form, Benzema, who's in good form as well, and Hazard, hopefully, if he can get 1 or 2. And, something from the midfield, Cruz is in good form, Valverde potentially. I really don't know if Valverde or Modric is going to play. I'm thinking Valverde is going to play just to save Modric for the Champions League game. But Modric can get some minutes too, so we'll have to see on that. But there you go for that. That's all I'm going to say for today. I'm going to end it right there. And James says, I think Hazard will score and Benzema and maybe Rodrigo. I'm definitely hoping to see something with Rodrigo. I do want to see him continue in this vein of form because He's doing really good. I'm really liking what I'm seeing from Rodrigo. He's contributing to the game in an impactful way and a very, very direct manner. Is not, goals. That's really what we need. And I would like to see that more from Rodrigo. He's young, but he's hungry. He's hungry. That's what it is. So there you go, guys. I'm gonna end it right there. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll be doing the match reaction tomorrow, right after the game. So be on the lookout for that. It's gonna be right after the game on the channel. Be on the lookout for that, like I said. And there you have it. That's all I got for you guys today. So bye, Dave. Another great stream. Yeah, tomorrow right after the match, I will be doing that. Jonas says, I hope Cruz keeps on playing advance. It fits him better instead of passing sideways all the time. Yes, actually, that's a good point. At Bayern Munich, he was playing in a more advanced role. So there you go. So thank you guys for watching, and have a good one. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you.